how have most of us been parented, right? It's been, don't do this. So if you say something that you shouldn't have or didn't react in a way you should have, then it's just like, just don't do that. But usually that next step is what matters the most. It's like, okay, don't just not do that, but let's tell you what to do. Like, let's really give you a perfect example of what to do, okay? And we would even have the kids sometimes, if it's something they had to communicate, like, tell me, say it back to me.
Correct.
I want to hear it out of your mouth. Because it's one thing to hear something, it's another thing to actually communicate it.
Hello, everyone. We are Greg and Jacquie Francis, and welcome to High Performance Parenting, where our passionate goal is to encourage you to raise champion children in a crazy world. Every week, we will bring you multiple episodes from our extensive experience of raising our six happy, healthy, successful, godly kids who are confidently equipped to win big in life.
We deeply believe that any parent who is provided with the right knowledge and continual support can raise amazing kids. And when they do, all of our futures get better. If raising up future generations of absolute champions matters to you as much as it does to us, here's how you can contribute. Like and share this podcast with everyone you know. And together, let's embrace this journey of raising champion kids in a crazy world.
Hey guys, welcome back. We're excited to be in the studio today. I like what you did with the changes in the studio.
Oh, you do?
Yeah. He rearranged his whole office. I'm just sitting here looking around. I'm like, this is a different setup.
Well, I'm getting us ready to do video podcasting, whatever you call it. What do you call it? Is there a name for that? Video casting? I don't know. But now we got to find someone to help us with it and do the cameras and everything else. But we got the setup now.
It's really neat. I mean, before I was kind of looking at the wall. Now I'm looking at the mountains. It's kind of a nice setup for us.
It is nice. I appreciate that. I had to work pretty hard at it.
You did.
Me and the children, of course. Me and the helpers.
I was in here too.
Yeah, you were one of them.
Mm-hmm. I was a helper, hon. Yeah. I'm not a childrano, but I was in here.
I appreciate you being a helper.
No, it was good. It looks great in here.
So what's new?
I don't know. It's been a little bit since we've been on our podcast.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of life has been happening.
A lot of life going on around here.
I feel like everyone can say that. Every time, like 2 days go by, it feels like a lot of life happens.
Give it 2 weeks and it's
right.
Like, whoa, we got to remember stuff from last week.
Yeah.
It got kind of shoved out the other side, Wow.
Yeah.
So where do you want to start? You want to start with how sports are in full swing again now? I mean, I know we've done some podcasts about sports, but we're entering a season now that is probably the most intense schedule that we've experienced yet. And that's by choice.
Yeah.
I mean, just a reminder to people who are listening is that we're pretty detailed, organized, scheduled, have a certain philosophy about kids' sports. And I know other people might have different ones, but for us, we just, we really plan our calendar a year in advance. We know that there's seasons that we're going to let the kids play certain things. It's going to have a lot to do with how schedules line up, how we can take kids to and from sports. They're going to have lots of practices. How many sports can they be in that we can actually manage, because it's not just the daily practices, it's the games, it's the everything, And so here we are. And I think we're currently in a season that's pretty intense, isn't it?
Yeah. And what's funny is we were just going over this. Well, I mean, within the last 2 weeks, it feels like a lifetime. But we're so thankful, though. We're so thankful of the opportunity that our kids do have right now. Like, we were just sitting in our piano room the other day talking how amazing it is for our kids to have opportunities to play sports at a pretty competitive level here in the area that we live in.
Yeah, it's 5A school.
Right. And what's funny is God is so good is when we first decided to purchase this house, we really didn't understand the benefits of being in the school area. Mm-hmm. And when I say the school area, we're talking about for sports. Our kids, we homeschool our kids, so we don't send them to the school for education purpose, but because of our location and the area that we live in, they get to go play sports.
Yeah, we cool school our kids.
And so they get to play the sports at the high school and at the middle schools, which is really, really great for us. But when we first purchased this house, we really didn't understand the benefits of being in this school district specifically for sports for our children. And with that, even in location, like, oh my gosh, like, of course, we all know God knows better than us, right? I mean, when Greg and I first started looking at homes, we were pretty far out from location-wise.
We were kind of looking maybe for some more property and to get out a little ways, and thought that that would be good and healthy for us, just to have a little bit of seclusion. But, none of that worked out. I don't know how many houses we looked at, and we're highly disappointed. And some of our local friends said, you really want to be in this area that we are in now. And, we ended up, almost being like, I don't know for sure, but everybody else is saying that. We don't know better. We do trust our friends. So let's do it at least for a season, And now that we're here and we have to drive to sports every day, and we're in a convenient location, again, it's like our season. We need to be, for us right now, we need to be in a place that we don't drive 35, 40 minutes to go to a practice daily, right? Instead, it can be 5 or 10 minutes up the road, because all the matches and all the games, they're going to be, however far away. And so, yeah, you're right. It's like, of course, thankfully that we trusted in the people that God put in our life to give us some wise counsel on this, for sure.
Totally. And we're super thankful even for the athletic directors that we have. I will just tell you guys, I don't know what your situation is, but I would check out the athletic directors in your school systems, because in our middle school, we have the most amazing athletic director. She has just been nothing but a blessing to us. In fact, we have 2 children in middle school and one that's in elementary. And because of, again, our crazy schedule, we could not put another sport on our plate at the elementary school for our 5th child. We just, that would be the 3rd school we were driving around to, and we just couldn't do it. And she's, our 5th child, she's just a butt kicker. She can hang with older kids because she's been hanging with her older siblings her entire life.
That's all she knows.
That's all she knows. And she's a competitive little feisty thing, so she can figure it out. And our athletic director was so cool. And every sport that our 2 middle school kids have been playing, our sweet Ellie just walked up to the director and just asked if she could play with them. And our director saw the hard work, saw the dedication, saw how great of a respectful little girl she was, and has given her a chance to play both cross country and now tennis with the bigger kids.
Yeah, so tennis just started. And so what sports we have all the kids in right now? So the girls, the twins, they're in high school tennis, and they're doing really good. They just won their first match each this past, whatever day it was.
Past week or so.
A couple days ago. Mm-hmm. And then middle school tennis just started, which is in the middle school here. That's 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, and they have like a JV and a varsity squad. But you're right, there isn't anything for 5th graders. But this is the second time now there hasn't been something for 5th graders. And Ellie, with her little cuteness and her practiced people skills and communication that we helped her with, there's a big tip there that we really helped her with. We practiced with her of what to say, and she just goes up to them and has confidence. And, she stands at about their belt buckle. She's so small compared to everybody else out there. She's a
little one.
And she just looks straight up at them with good eye contact and just, says, "Coach so-and-so, my name's Ellie Francis. My siblings are out here playing. I would really like the opportunity to be able to play with the team. I'm only in 5th grade, but I'm going to work really hard. I want to be one of your best players in the future, and I promise I won't let you down if you give me a chance," right? And what's the coach going to say?
Oh, they say yes.
They do. This time they even tried a little bit to be like, well, because it's huge. Just for middle school tennis, there's 60 kids out there. So when you got 6 courts, it's pretty crowded. And so their concern was, well, there's just a lot of people out here. She's like, no problem. I won't get in the way. Instead of just walking away and saying no, she's just really people skilled and just said, okay, well, I'll just jump in and, I'll just make a go of it.
And, it was really cool, though, is her big sister, Chrissy, kept telling her, come over here. Come on, come over here. You know what I mean? Kept encouraging her where to go.
Yep.
And playing with her. And before we knew it, now she's part of the team and has a jersey on. And it's neat, even the way that her siblings kind of, have helped make sure that it will happen, that they didn't just say, hey, sit over there. There's not enough room. You're kind of in the way. I mean, Chrissy has done nothing but kind of, come on, Ellie, come on over here. Let's play over here. Let's do this. You know what I mean? And that just goes a lot to show that it's not just Ellie out there trying to be by herself. I think it's so important for siblings to remember, your siblings on the court and off the court. And so how can we help each other look better? How can we help each other be the best version of ourselves? I have seen too many times where it's like you wouldn't even know siblings were siblings because they're not taught at home how to really include each other even outside of the home.
Right.
And it matters most outside of the home. It's really easy at home to play together. It's really easy at home to be on the same team. You don't have much of a choice at home. But what really shows is your character outside of the home.
For
right?
sure.
And that's what Christy's been doing for her. And because of that, Ellie she's beating 6th grade kids right now on the court, and I'm really proud of her.
She was so excited. She got in the car yesterday and she's just like, Dad, I didn't miss any of my serves yesterday. And I'm like, you're as tall as the net. How are you doing that? But it's awesome. But, it just goes to show again, this, to me, there's these victories starting to show up in this season of our life. All this work we've been putting in since they were just really small, and building into them why you guys are best friends and how you treat your best friend in situations around other kids with all these other influences, and lots of examples and talking them through. I mean, how many conversations have we had sitting on our couch in our living room with what happened here and how did this go? And you know what? Instead of reacting that way, you should do this. And you should do this, and then having to do it again, and then having to do it again. And after a while, now we show up, and first of all, I mean, it's so cool to watch Ellie go out there, and all the kids are learning, watching Ellie do what she's doing, because they're all learning, just like we've been teaching them, that if you really work on communication, if you really show up with courage, if you really do demonstrate character, then it will open up doors for you, like it will. And I'm watching it happen with Ellie, and all of our kids are watching it happen with Ellie, and I think it's just amazing. And then the second thing is just what you just described. Like, we didn't have to even prep Chrissy to take care of Ellie and make sure she was because Chrissy's nervous too. This is her first time being at this school doing a middle school tennis sport, and so, but she just she knows, this matters. Family's priority, and so I'm gonna look out for my siblings too, and now they're kind of getting their groove.
But you said a good point. It was after a lot of conversations sometimes it didn't go well like that. So if you're out there and you're like, oh, shoot, my kids don't do that for each other. Well, neither did ours sometimes. You know what I mean? Like they'd come home from different dance things or sports things and, well, I didn't know what to do. I just sat in the corner. I'm like, well, where was your siblings? Why didn't they help you? Well, they were just playing with their friends over there. Be like, okay, let's get together. Let's have a family team meeting. Let's discuss this because we work as a team in the house and out of the house. And, and having those conversations and even, talking to our kids, like what it looks like when maybe some of their friends are like, well, why is your sister playing? Or why is she in this area with us? This is for 8th graders or whatever. It'd be, how to respond to that, what to say with that, because it's important that kids know like role playing. If you're going through things at home and your kids aren't responding the way you think they should be, role play with them at home on how to handle stuff. I can't tell you how many times we're on our way to things and I'm like, okay, guys, so if somebody says something similar to this, what is our response?
That's right.
How do we respond to
this? Oh, man, we do that all the time, don't we?
And sometimes it's positive. I mean, sometimes we're role-playing and we're on our way. Hey, we're going to meet Mr. and Mrs. So-and-so. We'd like to introduce them to you like this. Please say their names. Can you guys repeat their names so you say it correctly? Can you speak up? You know what I mean? And then sometimes it's role-play, how to be a little more confident and bold in situations where somebody could be trying to quote unquote bully you in a certain way, and how we're going to respond to that and how we're not going to respond to things. It's important we're teaching our kids that kind of stuff up front.
Yeah, because how have most of us been parented, right? It's been, don't do this. So if you say something that you shouldn't have or didn't react in a way you should have, then it's just like, just don't do that. But usually that next step is what matters the most. It's like, okay, don't just not do that, but let's tell you what to do.
Correct.
Like, let's really give you a perfect example of what to do, okay? And we would even have the kids sometimes, if it's something they had to communicate, like, say it back to me.
Correct.
I want to hear it out of your mouth. Because it's one thing to hear something, it's another thing to actually communicate it. And a lot of times when you hear something, it sounds in your head like you could say it well. And then when you try to put it out of your mouth, it's not even the same. It's really like, okay, let's practice this again. And then we come back to it 2 hours later. Hey, Ellie, remind me again. What are you going to say to the coach? Hey, Ellie, what are we doing here? Hey, kids, next time a girl does this or something, and how are you going to respond to it? And we literally just keep like almost drilling it because we know these are life situations that are going to keep happening, right?
I know. And I think one of the biggest things that we teach our kids all the time is, of course, how to handle those situations. But when in doubt, I will tell you, there's sometimes that some kids just don't respond well when our kids, quote unquote, stick up for themselves. You know what I mean? I mean, maybe you guys can think of different situations in your house where maybe there's a situation at school where a girl's excluding people or saying some things that are rude or excluding, siblings or whatever it may be. Or maybe you can think of a time when your kids are at an event and some kids are just like, I mean, it's leadership untrained. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I don't like to call it bossiness. I don't like, it's just leadership untrained, or maybe you're in a situation where your kids are, they don't know how to respond to things like, Mom, like, what do we say why we don't do something like sleepover parties,
mm-hmm.
And which is one of our rules. That's a choice we had made a long time ago that we don't do sleepover parties at anybody else's house.
Yep.
We enjoy to have our kids home every night. They get to go to birthday parties, whatever it may be. I just go and get them before it's time to go to bed.
Right.
I just personally feel like that's the healthiest thing for us to do is all be in the same house because I don't know about anybody else out there. I know when I did sleepover parties, nothing good happened at midnight.
Right.
No good conversations happened.
Mm-hmm.
Sneaking out of the house happened. Like
watching dumb movies.
Oh, watching movies that still give me nightmares. Like, I don't know about anybody else. We made a decision up front. That's not what we're going to do. But sometimes our kids will try to explain to others and kids will just be like, well, that doesn't make sense. That's stupid. And our kids' response is like, well, what works for us might not work for you, but this is the rule at our house. And we're like, well, I don't understand the rule. Our response is, then why don't you go talk to my mom and dad and they'll explain it.
That's what we teach them to say is instead of you trying to explain it and they're kind of, because they're getting challenged, right? And these kids, they don't even realize they're kind of being rude like that because they're just used to not being taught to be polite, I think. And so this is kind of your out. If you don't understand, then I'll introduce you to my dad or my mom and you can ask them.
Correct.
And it shuts that conversation down.
And if not, we've had kids come up and ask us.
Yeah.
Which
is fantastic.
Yeah. It's a learning opportunity. Like we've had people come up and young kids that, again, maybe their parents didn't teach them that, everybody's family gets to make their own choices, what's best for their family. And we're not going to challenge everything. I mean, they've come up and they've asked and said, hey, Mr. Greg, can you explain to me why so-and-so can't spend the night at my house tonight? Mm-hmm. And you're like, that's a great question. I'd love to go over that with you.
Cliffhanger. On to the next one. Hey everyone, thanks for listening and thanks for your love and support. We hope that today's episode added tremendous value to you and your family. It would mean so much to us if you would partner with us on our mission of helping parents around the globe raise champion children in this crazy world.
To do so, simply take a moment to like and share this podcast with everyone in your network. See you next time.